The NFL Divisional Round delivered a moment that instantly shifted the tone of the postseason. In today's matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers, the game was effectively turned on its head before either offense even took the field. On the opening kickoff, Rashid Shaheed fielded the ball deep and returned it approximately 95 yards for a touchdown, giving Seattle an immediate lead on the very first play of the game. In a postseason environment where every possession is magnified, that kind of start is rare and it matters. Kickoff return touchdowns in the playoffs are uncommon to begin with. A kickoff return touchdown on the opening play of a divisional round game is even more unusual. It doesn't just put points on the board, it reshapes the emotional landscape of the game instantly. Before a single snap, Seattle had momentum. Before a single drive, San Francisco was already responding. The play itself unfolded quickly. Shaheed secured the kickoff cleanly, found a crease, and accelerated through the coverage unit. Once he broke into open field, there was no hesitation. The return wasn't improvised chaos, it was decisive, explosive, and executed with the confidence of a player who understands both space and timing. By the time he crossed midfield, the stadium energy had shifted, and when he reached the end zone, the message was clear. This game would not begin cautiously. From a strategic standpoint, this kind of score carries layers of impact. For Seattle, it immediately validated their special teams preparation. Kickoff returns are often treated as transitional plays, but postseason games frequently hinge on moments outside traditional offensive and defensive execution. That return rewarded aggressiveness and precision. For San Francisco, it forced an instant recalibration. Playoff teams typically want to establish rhythm early. Instead, the 49ers were suddenly trailing without having touched the ball, shifting play calling, tempo, and emotional balance. That kind of pressure shows up quickly. Historically, opening play scores in playoff games are rare. When they do happen, they often become defining moments, not because of record books, but because of what they demand from both teams. The trailing team must respond immediately, while the scoring team gains confidence and freedom. While there has been no confirmation that this return set an all time NFL record, its rarity is unquestioned. Kickoff return touchdowns to start postseason games exist in a very small historical group. The fact that this occurred in a divisional round matchup where margins are already thin elevates its significance. Momentum in football is often discussed abstractly. This was momentum made tangible. The return also highlighted the continued importance of special teams in playoff football. As offensive schemes become more sophisticated and defenses tighten, the edges increasingly matter. Kick coverage, return lanes, and discipline can decide games just as surely as red zone execution. Shaheed's role in that moment can't be overstated. As a wide receiver and return specialist, his responsibilities extend beyond offensive production. Return specialists operate in high risk, high reward spaces. One mistake can end a season, one success can change it. On this play, Shaheed delivered exactly what special teams units dream of: field awareness, burst, commitment to the lane, and confidence once the opening appeared. It's also worth noting how early scores like this affect game psychology. For Seattle, the early lead allowed them to play with patience rather than urgency. For San Francisco, it introduced urgency immediately. In playoff football, urgency often leads to risk, and risk can compound. None of that determines an outcome on its own, but it reshapes the path the game takes. As the game continued, analysts and fans alike pointed back to that opening return as the tone setter, not because it guaranteed victory, but because it disrupted expectations. Playoff games rarely begin with chaos. This one did. In the broader context of January 17th's postseason slate, this play will likely be remembered as one of the defining moments of the weekend, not for records, but for impact. It reminded everyone watching that no play is routine in the playoffs, that preparation extends beyond offense and defense, and that sometimes the most important moment happens before the game even feels like it has started. Rashid Shaheed's kickoff return touchdown didn't just put Seattle on the board. It announced that this divisional round matchup would be decided by execution, boldness, and the ability to capitalize instantly. In a postseason built on inches and seconds, that return covered 95 yards and shifted the game in a heartbeat. And regardless of how the rest of the contest unfolds, that opening play will remain one of the defining images of the 2026 NFL playoffs.